and welcome to this episode of ArtsAbly in Conversation. My name is Diane Collin. I am a woman with short hair, blue eyes, and glasses, and today I wear a black top. Behind me is a dance studio with gray walls, tall mirrors, and spotlights. This series presents artists, academics, and project leaders who dedicate their time and energy to a better accessibility for people with disabilities in the arts. You can find more of these conversations on our website, artsably.com, which is spelled artsably.com. Today, ArtsAbly is in conversation with Precious Perez, a blind Latin artist based in Kentucky. You can find the resources mentioned by Precious Perez during this episode on ArtsAbly's website in the blog section.
Cuando te pregunto, siempre estás ahí para validar mis sentimientos y alejar el dolor. Sabes, encantado, como una poción mágica, con cada asombro tú me dibujas. Agua de Valencia, eres mi preferencia. Cada momento contigo se siente como una luna de miel. Agua de Valencia, agua de Valencia, agua de Valencia, tú eres mi preferencia. 5 años, cuánto te he conocido, la misma cantidad de tiempo es cuánto tiempo te he amado. Me enamoré de mi mejor amigo, esta bebida me recuerda el que tiene mi corazón. Agua de Valencia, eres mi preferencia. Cada momento contigo se siente como una luna de miel. Agua de Valencia, agua de Valencia, agua de Valencia, tú eres mi preferencia.
Welcome to this new episode of ArtsAbly in Conversation. Today I am with Precious Perez, who is a blind Latin artist based in Kentucky. Welcome, Precious.
Thank you. So great to be here.
And great to see you. I'm very excited to receive you today. Okay, so I always start my episodes by asking a little bit about the background, the story of my guests. So what is your story? What led you to music? Did you have a particular family with musicians inside? Or tell me about how you got to music.
Absolutely. So I'll kind of go backwards. So I am now so as you said, my name is Precious. I am a blind Puerto Rican woman today I have long, dark passion twists and a corduroy shirt, and I love corduroy. That's a random fun fact. But I am a Latin music artist and music educator, songwriter, disability advocate, author, and actress. So I do a lot of different things. And I also serve as president of RAMPT, and I'm sure we'll get to that at some point. But
Oh, yes.
I really knew from a really young age that I wanted to do something with music. My mom always had all kinds of music playing in the background since I was little. And when I was about 6 years old, I was like, maybe I can sing. I want to sing. And so I was painfully shy as a kid. But I started on my little Barbie karaoke machine by myself in my room. And then a music class really opened that door for me in elementary school. And then I was in chorus. And then I really started to kind of songwrite in middle school. And um, in high school, I took a lot of different classes like music production and guitar and piano, and finally figured out in my junior year of high school exactly what I wanted to do because I didn't realize you could major in different aspects of music. I thought music was like a general thing, and then you had to pick like another subject. And so I was like, I'll just do English and music because I loved like English, not necessarily like analyzing literature, but I loved words and creative writing, and I still do. So like poetry kind of became songs for me. Like I was able to turn my love for poetry into music and lyrics. And so I decided that I was going to major in music education and performance so that I could have a fallback that I also loved if performing full time didn't work out. And so I ended up choosing Berklee College of Music, and I studied music ed and performance. Graduated in the spring of 2022. Everything conferred in December of 2021, so I just walked in the spring. And after that, I really was kind of finding my way and deciding what was going to work for me, what wasn't going to work for me, trying different things, trying this job and that job, and finding the right fit. And eventually, I just finally got the courage to open my LLC for music and just start doing everything I possibly could, from acting to writing to voice lessons to teaching, and of course, performing and songwriting and creating. And so that kind of led me to where I am now, working on a bunch of different projects because the freelance life is not for the faint of heart. Um, and so I do a lot of different things that I feel like really align with my passion overall. And it's really exciting and it can be terrifying at the same time.
Yes. So as a music educator, where do you teach?
So right now I teach voice lessons at a local music store. So I actually was originally from Boston. My parents are Puerto Rican, but I grew up in Boston, Massachusetts, and specifically Chelsea, which is like a little town north of Boston. And then I got married in 2022 and moved to Louisville, Kentucky. So that's where I live now. And so I teach at a local music store called Mom's Music, and I have one student there. I have another online student um, at a company called Music for Humans. And then I do music enrichment for a daycare that I used to work at. I do that 2 hours a week with 3 and 4 year olds, and it's a lot of just singing and playing with puppets and doing song games that help them kind of develop their rhythm and their pitch and singing and all of that stuff. It's so much fun. I get so much joy from
Yeah, I can imagine that.
it.
So, as a musician with multiple strings and multiple instruments, multiple possibilities, what you chose, I frequently see you with a ukulele, right?
Yes.
So tell me about that. Why did you choose finally? I said, okay, we're gonna do ukulele and singing, and that works perfectly as a combination.
Yeah. So I have always kind of um, tinkered around with different instruments. So, piano, a little bit of guitar, a little bit of, and with music education, you kind of have to learn the foundations of being able to play a lot of different instruments. So, like, for a while, I played the French horn and the flute and the clarinet, and I did flute in middle school, so I've always loved the flute. But man, trumpet was the hardest. Um, and violin and all these different instruments I've been able to interact with, but nothing came as naturally to me as when I picked up a ukulele. That happened when my freshman year of college, one of my roommates had one, and I was like, maybe I can learn this. And I found this YouTube channel called The Ukulele Teacher, and he's very descriptive, which is really helpful for me because I can't see what someone's doing. So he tells me, like, put your ring finger on the third fret of the second string. And I'm like, okay, I can do that. And so I learned how to play songs that way. And little by little, that built up my knowledge of how to play different chords. And so, because it's so portable and it felt really comfortable for my hands to play, um, it just became what I gravitated to. And so, like, I can play a little guitar and piano, but my favorite and the thing I accompany myself the most with is the ukulele.
So when you were in Berkeley, did you decide to record some or to video record or to record some audios to put your work online? Did you try that already in Berkeley or did it come after?
So, I actually released my first album during my freshman year at Berkeley, and that was with the help of my high school music teacher. His name was Pete Papavasilio, and uh, producer Doug Batchelder, who was his friend and somebody that is now one of my dear friends. And it kind of became a dream that was achieved through a Kickstarter campaign because one day he pulled me aside and was like, "Hey, I think you have a gift. I can help you make an album. Is this something you're interested in?" And of course, I had over 100 songs written by then. I was like, "Yes, absolutely, let's do it." And so I was able to record it, and they did a lot of the arranging and everything else. And that was my first body of work that was ever released during my freshman year. And then following that, I studied abroad in Valencia the first half of my sophomore year and really became inspired by my time there to write more. And so I wrote an EP that eventually got produced by Doug as well, and we put out into the world in 2019. And I just kind of kept building from there. Um, some things I tried my hand at producing myself at home and released a couple things that way. Um, and then that built up to last year when I got to work with a phenomenal label called We Could Be Music based in Costa Rica. And we released three singles, two of which they pitched to me based on my vision and we worked on together, and one of which I wrote. And it really, the music that I created with them and that I'm working towards making now is really fully in the Latin space and exactly where I've always wanted to be. And so I feel like my body of work that's already out kind of represents my growth, and you can definitely see it like from the beginning to now. And it's really fun to look back on.
What are the titles of these releases?
So Hummingbird, my very first album, it's the title track is also called Hummingbird, and that song is, I call it my flagship career song because it's kind of timeless in the sense that no matter where I am in my life, I can play it and I still almost cry. And like it seems to have really touched a lot of people every time that either I play it in a band or I just perform it anywhere. And it's really one of my most favorite songs I've ever written. My next EP after that is called Agua de Valencia for Valencia, Spain. It's named after a alcoholic beverage that I loved, and one of the songs is also titled that. And then I released a children's EP in 2020 that was a random kind of inspired by the children in my life, my stepson, my little cousins, my brother, all of that kind of just I just was working on some music education things, and in my music ed guitar class, my teacher challenged me to write songs so that I could get more comfortable playing the guitar chords. And that kind of came out of that. So it was really fun to have that come to fruition. And what's hilarious to me is that the number one song on my Spotify continues to be Dinosaur Lullaby. Doesn't matter what other songs I've released and that they have more traction or anything, that one has maintained the top spot for years and it makes me laugh. I'm waiting for someone to request that at a show one day. Um, and then I've released between then a couple singles and a cover, and then my three singles, my three Latin singles last year. So those are called Sin Preguntar and Melanin Queen and Rosé.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
And when did you meet Robbed for the first time?
I got involved with Ramped very early on, so it was somewhere, I think it was a couple months before official launch. So I got involved with Ramped in September of 2021, I believe. And I was just so thrilled to be part of an organization that was doing the work that I'm so passionate about because my entire goal with my art is to represent and uplift all of my communities and to really show the world that, hey, people with disabilities are people and we're here and we're successful and we're powerful and we deserve to be celebrated. And that coupled with being really proud about being Boricua, and I'm just like, yes, I'm here, I'm Hispanic, and I'm proud of it. And all of these different things, being a woman, um, having anxiety and depression, all these different intersections that I represent, just really being open and authentic. And so when I heard about Ramped, I was immediately like, I need to be a part of this. Like this is what I want to do. This is work I want to be doing. And so I became one of the members that got called in the first kind of class of membership. And then from there, I became the co chair of the memberships committee, which is now called engagement, and transitioned to VP. And I now serve as president.
Wow. Yeah, I mean it's a fantastic organization, and I know people who watch this or watch or listen to this podcast, they hear a lot about ROMs.
Absolutely.
And actually, we were before we started recording, we were mentioning that you were gracious enough to participate in one of the shows that I organized with my music school a few years ago,
Yes.
and it was fun. I think you just became president at this no, or VP. You just
I think it
became
might have been
VP.
VP. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think you're right.
Actually, the school also provides this kind of variety of music from the early musical beginnings to teenagers. And when you participated, it was like trying to engage the teenagers. And actually, we had a lot of questions. Oh, yeah, that's
Oh,
cool.
that's
And
awesome.
so it really, I was very happy that you participated in that show
That
and
was
to
a
find
lot
you
of
back
fun.
today. So what is as a rump member, I think we share that the fact that we have opportunities that are offered through rump.
Absolutely.
And so what are your interesting projects that you worked with that you got through rump?
Absolutely. So I've gotten a few kind of inquiries through Ramped, because so Ramped, just as a quick overview, so we promote inclusion, amplify disability culture, and advocate for inclusive and accessible spaces in the industry. And so a lot of what we do is we provide inclusive tools and strategies to the music industry, but also we have a network of peer vetted um, musicians, music professionals, songwriters, everything under the sun. And all of these creators and professionals are musicians with disabilities and chronic conditions and mental health conditions. And it's really a space for anyone with any kind of disability or neurodivergence or chronic condition to be represented, uplifted, and also to gain opportunities and really grow and excel in their career. And so I've had the opportunity to speak on different panels, such as Folk Alliance, to perform at different places. Um, and it's just amazing to see everybody in the community just not only coming together to celebrate each other, but also elevating ourselves at the same time. Because Ramped as a whole is a community, and community is so, so important in any industry, in any field. And so it's just incredible that we have this space and we've been able to create and build this space for each other, but also for the industry to come to, and really have a source for information about disability, where to find disabled creators, how to uplift and celebrate, how to accommodate all of these different aspects that are so, so important.
Yeah, and the behind the scene is really important. I remember the first years when we started working with the Grammys and educating them. I mean, Lachi and Galen Lee have been struggling with that at the very beginning. The way that the Grammy was maybe envisioning some things that were improved by the communication with Ramped.
Absolutely. It's amazing to see like all these partnerships we have and the Grammys just every year getting stronger and better and being able to be a part of that is just so incredible and it's amazing to watch it happen and to be a part of it and celebrate it um, because it's just it's changing the way that things are in a positive way. And positive change is really what we strive for. Positive inclusion, working together with communities and with the industry to improve things for everyone is just it's what we're here for.
Yeah, and also being present on the stage, right? Being here
Yeah.
in the mainstream media, being like physically and mentally present where the
Yep.
music happens.
Representation
Yeah.
for sure.
And I saw an interesting video of one of your concerts at the Kennedy Center. Could you talk
Oh
about this experience?
yeah, absolutely. So I performed at the Kennedy Center. Was that 2022? Yes, 2022. 2023? 2023.
Okay.
Time? What is time?
Yeah.
But it was amazing. I got to bring some of my really good friends and bandmates with me. I have different people I play with for different things. So I currently play in a local cover band in Louisville called Sight Unseen. And they play with me sometimes when I have solo gigs, but then I have other musicians that are really good friends that are also in a band of their own, but they back me up. And so I was able to bring them with me to the Kennedy Center. And it was incredible just being on that stage, um, having the crowd just really engaged and having that opportunity. And now having that memory and that archive and that show to look back on and be like, wow, I wouldn't be here without Ramped. And that's the reality. Like, Ramped has changed my career for the better in my life and really given me so much perspective and so many friendships that are really, really amazing. And I've met so many amazing people through Ramped. And these are the kinds of things that happen when we kind of band together, participate, uplift each other, and do this kind of work to really make that kind of impact.
You kind of already answered this question, but I want to go back to one of the things that we do sometimes in Ramp is to get together and have these awesome conversations about models of disabilities and how uplifting we should have um, some conversations in disability culture. And my work in music and in what I'm doing in academics and in what I'm doing in my life every day is to discuss what it means to have an accessible environment. And I would like to know what it is for you to work in disability culture and to have to work in a better accessibility in the arts.
Absolutely. So I believe that, disability culture should always be celebrated and uplifted. And I think that disability inclusion is working together and best achieved through positive conversation and a communication. So for example, if there is a situation that I'm in where I something in the venue isn't accessible to me or I need assistance with something, I would communicate that to my point of contact and say, "Hey, this isn't great for me or for my audience. Here's a suggestion of how you can improve that so that this can be optimized and better for the future." And as long as those people are empathetic and willing to do everything in their power to be accommodating, that's the first step and that's what's important. Because there are a lot of times where, we talk about like the ADA and we talk about venue accessibility. And, you know, we talk about ramped in those contexts, and ramped is not here to enforce the ADA, to sue anybody, to do any of that stuff. Ramped's mission is to really create inclusion and inclusive spaces through education, communication, and conversation. And so, positive, really, communication in general, and teachable moments are really, for me, how I can help celebrate and uplift disability culture and really just being myself, like living my life, showing a little bit of my world and being really authentic in who I am and being proud and celebrating who I am in every aspect of that. You know, we are all disability culture and everybody's going to be a little different because people in general are different and everybody's needs are different and you know, everyone's thoughts are a little different. But the reality is that disability culture is our story. Disability is the one minority left out of diversity conversations. And it's the one community anyone could join at any time. Someone could fall, have an injury, and become disabled. And so, really, there needs to be so much more just openness and education about disability. And that's what I strive to do through my art and through my content is to really spearhead kind of that in specifically the Hispanic community, because disability is something in the Latin community that is rarely talked about. Um, and so opening those doors and having those conversations is so, so important in order to create that change and that awareness.
Yeah, and being a disability rights activist is also educating people
Yeah,
because at the end they don't know. They were
yeah,
raised, we were raised all together in a society where disability is following the medical model where we that's something also we discuss in Rome that is a bit complicated, but the idea of different kind of models that define the society today, and disability is not included in the society itself, or
yeah,
rarely included because the world itself was built for able bodies and
right.
people who are not disabled. And so, yeah, it's hard sometimes, but by educating people, I believe I'm like you. I believe that educating people is the key of disability rights activists.
Absolutely. And through creativity and art and music, that is a way to bridge gaps, you know, through anything. And so by being on these stages, being in these rooms, being in these spaces is also a form of celebrating and educating just by being there.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that's why representation is also so important.
Yes, definitely. I wanted to know if you are working on any specific projects right now that you could maybe develop.
So right now I'm working on booking more local gigs. So here in Kentucky, because a lot of the performances and other opportunities I've received are all over the country, but not yet so many locally. So I play with my cover band, excited to do more of that this year. Um, Work on getting more gigs, I'm working on getting some brand deals. That would be really awesome. But the thing I'm most excited about is the Latin project I'm working towards. So I'm working towards a Latin EP, um, really kind of building my catalog of music in Spanish and really solidifying where I sit in this space and these intersections. And so that's something I'm working on and working towards, and I'm really hoping for it to come to fruition this year. So I'm excited about that.
Oh, that seems good. And so this project is an EP, it's an album, it's what?
It will be an EP.
Okay,
Yes.
and we don't know more for now.
Not
I'm
yet. No.
a bit curious, as you can hear.
She's like, tell me
Tell
more.
me more. Okay, thank you. Well, we will wait with impatiently that you have. Okay, so I have a last question to conclude this interview, and it's about people who might have a specific particular place in your life, in your career, people who have guided you, who have motivated you. If you think of these kind of people in your life, who would it be and why?
Oh my goodness. All I can really say is that it takes a village. There's so many people throughout my life that have inspired me and gotten me where I am, and I wouldn't be where I am or who I am without them, without my family, my friends, my mentors, my ramped community, um, my bandmates, anyone I've played with, worked with, just there's so many, and I never want to name people because then I don't want to forget somebody because I there's just I'm blessed to say that there's been so many people that I get to say have touched my life and believed in me and my career, and that means more to me than anything else. Like I have a lot of musical influences. Um, Bad Bunny, for example, his latest album is incredible and I'm obsessed with it. Daddy Yankee, Taylor Swift really inspired my songwriting for the first little while, and really showed me how to craft songs in that way. Alicia Keys, Tori Kelly, there's a lot of like Ed Sheeran, all these musical influences that I don't know personally, of course, but um,
Yet.
all like they say here all heroes don't wear capes, and that's so real. Like a lot of the people in my life don't even really know the impact that they've had. And sometimes it just takes that one, like, hey, I see you, you're doing well, or here, let me help you with this, or let me give you this contact. And you never know how that's going to come back around. And so I'm just immensely grateful for everybody.
Wow. Thank you. That's a lot of great names and great influences that you have
Oh,
here,
yeah.
for sure. Okay, well, thank you so much for having taking the time to have this conversation with me. And I think there will be with each episode of Artsably, there is always what is called a resource page, and we will post some of the names or the conversations, the topics that we've mentioned on this resource page,
Oh,
so
awesome.
that people can also follow some of your links, your YouTube channel. I know I one of my favorite clips is the Sin Preguntar. I
Oh,
really
thank
love this
you.
clip, so I think we're gonna post all that content.
Awesome.
And yeah, thank you so much. And I'm sure we're gonna see us around in one event or the other.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Well, I wish you a great day and talk soon.
Thank you. You
Bye,
too.
Precious.
Bye.